In this episode, I'm going to share my vision for the future of humanity, which I think is going to be pretty cool. This is a hard video to make because technology is evolving so fast. It is, it's practically impossible to keep up with all the latest innovations that are going on. But in general, I tend to be optimistic about the future. If you only watch the news, it appears that the world is getting worse. The news is incentivized to highlight negative stories. But if you follow the latest technological developments, and if you look at the data for things such as, human health, time for leisure, literacy, access to food, and other things, the world is actually getting better. Steven Pinker said, almost anything that you measure when it comes to human well-being has increased over time. So the first point I want to make is that technology is moving faster than you think. Peter Diamandis, who is, a famous futurist, he writes about this, and he makes the point that the acceleration of technology is itself accelerating. So he and other prominent futurists like Ray Kurzweil, Jeff Booth, Elon Musk, and Balaji Srinivasan, they all make compelling arguments about how we are in the midst of multiple exponential trends in technological development that are going to completely reshape the world. Jeff Booth gives a good analogy to help explain exponentials. If you fold a piece of paper 50 times, assuming it is possible, how thick would it be? So if you want, you can pause the video and think about it. Most people, when they hear this, they would guess, I don't know, maybe about 2 inches or something. The reality is that the paper would reach all the way to the sun. So what this says about humanity is that we do not understand exponential patterns. We cannot grasp them. So we have Moore's law, which says that computer processing power doubles every 2 years. And there are other technologies that are moving in exponential patterns as well. So Jeff Booth, he thinks that we're on about fold 33 from his paper analogy. So in another 2 years, technology will double again. And it's incomprehensible how fast technology is moving. The next point I want to make is that technology reduces prices. Or another way of saying it is that technology creates abundance. Technology makes work more efficient, it saves our time, and it makes things faster, smaller, cheaper, and better. In short, technology allows you to do more with less. It reduces scarcity and creates abundance. The air you breathe is arguably the most valuable thing in your life, and it's free. It's free because it's abundant. So same thing with just about every app on your phone, information on the internet, ability to communicate with others, and so many other things. So technology creates abundance everywhere. The end point of a hyper-abundant society is that technology becomes so good and produces so much stuff so cheaply that there will be no poverty at all. Goods and services are so abundant that people will give them away. So here are some examples of technology creating abundance. Perhaps the main area of rapid development, and the area which is causing rapid development in almost every other area, is the development of artificial intelligence. The amount of raw data that is being generated every day is growing exponentially. So in 2020, our best estimates suggest that at least about 2.5 quintillion bytes of data is produced every day. Computer RAM has reached the petabyte scale. Processing power has reached the exaflop scale, and data storage capacity has reached the zettabyte scale. Tesla, they just came out with an exaflop supercomputer Dojo to train its self-driving artificial intelligence. And they have plans to make that perform 10x better in the near future. Tesla AI Day, that was a pretty spectacular event. So it may not be long before we see zettaflop or yottaflop processing performance. For data storage, one company that stands out is Jump Pedal. They claim to have figured out a way to do near infinite data compression using quantum mathematical systems. So if this is true, this would allow you to carry significantly more information in significantly less space compared to current data storage systems. And this product is targeted to be rolled out in about 2023. So on top of all this, AI algorithms are getting more sophisticated, quantum computing is beginning to take off, and there are many other advances in computer science. This means we are getting a more and more powerful set of tools to deploy for solving the world's most challenging problems and creating abundance for everyone. Already, we have seen some amazing results with artificial intelligence. GPT-3 is an AI system that uses deep learning from just text on the internet, and it can make surprisingly good predictions. It already has uses in many areas, such as productivity, education, creativity, and games. Codex is another AI system that translates natural language to code. So this will allow even non-technical people to write computer programs just by saying what they want the program to do. AlphaFold, it's another AI system that solved the protein folding problem, which has perplexed the scientists for nearly 50 years. So being able to predict what shapes proteins fold into allows for the development of treatments for diseases, finding enzymes that can break down industrial waste, and so many other important uses. It may not be long before we get to artificial general intelligence, which is the ability of an AI system to understand or learn any intellectual task that a human being can. And this is also part of what Ray Kurzweil calls the singularity. So once the singularity has been reached, Ray Kurzweil says that machine intelligence will be infinitely more powerful than all human intelligence combined. Afterwards, he predicts, intelligence will radiate outward from the planet until it saturates the universe. The singularity is also the point at which machines' intelligence and humans would merge. And Ray Kurzweil, he predicts that we will reach this point around 2045. In the field of energy, renewable energy is already cost competitive with traditional fossil fuel energy, and in some places cheaper. And this trend is only accelerating. Eventually, people will stop using fossil fuels simply because it is more expensive than renewables. Scientists have made great strides in getting closer to nuclear fusion, which, when that comes, that's going to be like the holy grail of energy production. Some credible scientists and engineers think that we will have a viable nuclear fusion reactor, one that can create more energy than it consumes, as early as 2025. And in the area of energy storage, there are more and more creative solutions coming out. One notable energy storage solution is nano diamond batteries. These things can convert radioactive decay from nuclear waste into energy, and they can run for up to 28,000 years. So these are, cost-effective, safe, scalable, and small. So it can be used in microchips and various industrial applications. And these are targeted for sale in about 2023. In the field of education, abundance is happening on all levels. At the grade school level and high school level, some notable programs include the Khan Academy and Synthesis School. So Khan Academy is a hugely successful online academy which offers free, world-class education on a lot of the core subjects for anyone, anywhere. And similarly, Synthesis School is another online school that brings the same level of education that Elon Musk's kids received to everyone in the world. So the creators of Ad Astra have created Synthesis School, which helps students with strategic thinking and collaborative problem solving. It is done in a game-like fashion, so it is actually fun for students to learn. Right now, there is a monthly cost for this program, but it is constantly getting better, and the founders have a plan to reduce costs as they expand their services. At the college and professional level, a couple of notable programs include the Saylor Academy and Lambda School. The Saylor Academy is similar to Khan Academy in that it offers free and open online courses to all who want to learn. The Saylor Academy offers nearly 100 full-length courses at the college and professional levels, each of which is available right now. And then you can learn at your pace, on your schedule, and free of cost. Michael Saylor, who is, I guess one of the richest people on the planet, said that whatever wealth he has is going to flow into this foundation. So the foundation is dedicated to making education free for everybody forever. Boot camps are becoming more and more popular. People can learn to code in as little as 3 months. Lambda School offers a more in-depth boot camp-like experience. And that program takes about 6 or 9 months. And with Lambda School, the total tuition, it's about $30,000 right now. But you don't have to pay tuition until you are hired and you make more than $50,000. And then you pay monthly based on what you earn. So right now you can train remotely to become a software engineer or a data scientist. And soon they're going to offer blockchain development and many other offerings down the line. So, and then companies themselves, they're getting into the education game. Companies like Google, Salesforce, and other companies are offering their own training and certification programs. So traditional education may look completely different in the near future. Chrisman Frank, one of the founders of Synthesis School, he predicts that the future of education will look like this. Knowledge and cognitive skills will be learned on the internet. Playing, exploring, and other hands-on projects will be done locally. And further in the future, we may have the ability to just upload knowledge and skills directly into the brain through devices like Neuralink. Food production is also ramping up in the world. Cell-based meats are scaling up now, and they're about to become cost competitive with traditional meats. You can already get cell-based meats in some select restaurants now, and in 2022, cell-based meats will be available in some grocery stores. And soon, cell-based meats will become even cheaper than traditional meats. Slaughterhouses eventually will be made obsolete. And there are many other areas in food production which are exciting. Greenhouse horticulture technology, precision farming, and vertical indoor farming, they're getting better and better all the time. The Netherlands probably has the most advanced farming techniques in the world. They use advanced monitoring techniques, artificial intelligence, robotics, and other tech to continually improve crop growth and prevent disease. The Netherlands is, they're not a big country, but despite its size, the Netherlands is now the world's second or third largest exporter of food. Greenhouse horticulture uses fewer pesticides, less water, and less fertilizer, and they have a higher return per unit area than crops that are grown in the open field. And they are able to produce food throughout the entire year. Housing is another area that's poised for disruption. Home building is no longer confined to being done locally. Homes are now being built in factories just like we build cars. Building homes in a factory allows for them to be built way faster, way cheaper, and at a way higher quality than traditional built homes. Modular homes and 3D printing are revolutionizing housing. Homes can now be shipped to a site and assembled within a day. Jeff Booth, who knows a thing or two about this technology, said that 3D printing has gotten so fast, and when it comes out, it will blow people's minds. And some companies I'm following in this area are Boxable and Mighty Buildings, but there are a lot of companies. Transportation is an obvious area of tremendous growth. Ubiquitous self-driving cars are practically a certainty at this point. Elon Musk recently said that Tesla will be close to level 5 by the end of 2021. Eventually, insurance will get so cheap because there will be hardly any accidents. People won't own cars because it'll be cheaper just to pay for self-driving cars to take them wherever they want to go. People won't have to worry about parking, vehicle maintenance, or other issues with vehicle ownership. Rocket technology is getting so good that eventually we will have the ability to travel anywhere in the world in less than an hour. Beyond Earth, Elon Musk is spearheading making humans a multiplanetary species with his Starship and his plans to colonize Mars. Elon Musk is highly confident that SpaceX will land humans on Mars by 2026. Who knows? Maybe the government actually did recover alien vehicles, and humans will eventually be able to harness element 115 or something else and master gravity propulsion. And, there are many other things. Robotics, nanotechnology, genetics, 5G, high-speed, low-latency satellite internet everywhere on the planet, and the list goes on. So one might ask, if technology reduces prices, how come we are not experiencing that now? The short answer is because of bad government policy. Jeff Booth explains this really nicely. Inflation means that the price of goods and services go up in relation to your currency. Deflation is the opposite. Prices go down in relation to your currency. Everyone individually wants prices to go down for the goods and services they buy. That's obvious. You can buy more with less. But if you add everyone's purchases up into an economy, the government wants inflation. The government wants our currency to be worth less and prices to be more. This is insanity. Technology is a giant force for deflation, and it is fighting an equally giant force of monetary easing and inflationary policy designed by governments to bring prices up. These two forces are fighting each other right now. So to keep prices up, to generate inflation, the government lowers interest rates and increases the money supply, which increases government's debt. So we've seen, an exponential growth in technological development accompanied by an exponential growth in government debt. To stop deflation from happening, the world has added $185 trillion in debt in the last 20 years, and that's before COVID. If you didn't have that debt, you'd have already seen prices going down everywhere. A lot of the problems we see in society, ridiculous housing prices, rents going up, rising inequality, etc., all that is a result of government inflationary policies. Inflation is theft. It's a hidden tax so that the government can get bigger. If the government had to be honest, the government would have to get smaller, and we would have to live within our means. Inflation is good for some people, those with assets and the wealthy, and it is good for debt. The current system requires inflation to hold it together, which means that the current system requires stealing from people and passing that theft to other people. So there is corruption at the base layer of money, and from that, there is corruption everywhere in society. If you have more deflation, the debt becomes more expensive, and it can't be paid back. So if the government allows deflation to happen against the current credit-based system with as much debt as we have, the entire system unwinds to the ground. Ultimately, I believe that technology is a more powerful force than governments. Governments cannot stop technological advancement, and there will have to be some transition from the current credit-based system to a new monetary system. And because governments have made this problem so big by, continually kicking the can down the road, this transition is likely going to be ugly. Either the currency is going to get destroyed, hyperinflation, or we will have to go through a period of austerity like, we did in the 1930s. Luckily, technology is also offering a way for people to not only survive through this monetary system transition, but to thrive through this transition. And this leads me to my next point, which is that technology fosters decentralization and it makes centralization less important. The current centralized credit-based monetary system can't change itself. If you signaled you were going to abandon the current monetary system, the entire financial system, banks, everything, it just collapses to the ground. Most system changes require the change to be imposed from the outside in. Jeff Booth said that, the Great Reset is likely to not come from a small group of power brokers vying for control, but instead through a decentralized monetary network that fixes the incentive structure of the world and empowers billions of people as a result. And the solution he's talking about, of course, is Bitcoin. There has to be a currency that is native to the digital realm that we are moving into and that cannot be manipulated. The only thing out there like this is Bitcoin. So what the internet did for information is what Bitcoin is doing for money. And Bitcoin is one example of what distributed ledger technology is doing. This technology is not just revolutionizing money, but it is revolutionizing everything. Distributed ledger technology is solving the problem of trust between people, and it is making transactions freer and fairer. As distributed ledger technologies develop, there will be less need for third-party intermediaries, and this means a lot of companies will no longer be needed. Banks, financial institutions, social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, insurance companies, advertising companies, marketplace companies, pretty much everything, at least partially, could be done more efficiently in a decentralized way. And not just companies, but even nation states will trend towards becoming obsolete, or at least, they won't be as profound as they once were. The last point I want to make is that technology makes humans, on average, happier. With hyperabundance, poverty is eliminated, and there's no incentive for violence. Technology is making great strides at reducing and eliminating mental health issues like anxiety, depression, PTSD, and other disorders. Already, there are therapies like stellate ganglion blocks, transcranial magnetic stimulation, neurofeedback, antidepressants, and others. And we are gaining a greater understanding of how the microbiome and how our diets affect mental health. There are also newer developments like, psychedelic-assisted therapy, prescription video games, AI and smartphone-assisted therapy, VR for mental health, digital pills, digital symptom tracking, and much, much more. Neuralink has the potential to treat a wide range of neurological disorders, and it also has the potential to restore sensory and movement function, and eventually to expand how we interact with each other and how we interact with the world. Technology is also allowing humans to live longer and healthier lives. There are so many exciting developments in human longevity. Cellular reprogramming, stem cell therapies, genomics, AI in healthcare, and so many other exciting developments. Aubrey de Grey, a leading biomedical gerontologist, he coined the term longevity escape velocity. This occurs when life expectancy is extended longer than the time that is passing. So, for example, in a given year in which longevity escape velocity would be maintained, technological advances would increase life expectancy more than the year that just went by. So this could potentially allow humans to live significantly longer and perhaps arbitrarily long and healthy lives. Aubrey de Grey said, "I now think that there's a 50% chance that we will reach longevity escape velocity by 2036. If technology creates abundance and it moves everything to free, it means that if we design the world differently, we wouldn't need the same amount of work. Eventually, work will be optional. Robots, AI, and other tech will do all the work that humans do not want to do. Humans will be able to focus on activities that they find meaningful to them. And technology is offering more and more opportunities for meaningful engagement. Augmented reality, virtual reality, and other tech are allowing us to be able to create our own worlds however we want. So, to summarize, technology on the whole encourages less violence, less disease, fitter bodies and minds, longer lives, less forced work, and the ability to create your own worlds. This results in a happier society. Balaji Srinivasan summarizes these ideas even more concisely by saying, immutable money, infinite frontier, eternal life. So that's all for this episode. Thanks for listening. Take care.